Welcome, my friend. Super excited to be here with you today. Welcome to the How to Jump Timelines Masterclass. We are going to be looking into how to effortlessly shift from your current reality onto a new timeline for yourself that is just so full of overflow and abundance. Super excited to get into this with you today. We will start with just a really quick, short introduction to who I am if this is your first time coming across my work, just so you feel comfortable. And then we're just going to dive right in and spend as much time as possible just pouring into you and teaching you exactly how you are going to start to work with quantum energies to unlock your absolute dream life. So, hi there. My name is Mickey. Some fun facts about me. I have been with my high school sweetheart for 15 years. We're coming up on almost 12 years married. I'm a full-time mom of 5. My eldest just turned 13. I actually gave birth to her when I was 18, so teen mom. I have 3 backyard chickens that give us eggs every day. We have a cat named Wayfinder who we adopted last year, who was actually born on the Lionsgate portal last year. And we have a Russian tortoise who's about as big as your hand, and we actually adopted him when he was 10 years old. If you don't know, tortoises live a super long time, so he's about 16 years old right now, and he will likely live until he is at least 35, 40, maybe even older. So really love that for us. I am a multi-6-figure business owner, coach, and wealth energetics healer. I've coached to this date more than 12,000 students globally in over 30 different countries. I homeschool 2 of my younger children. I did homeschool my eldest as well until middle school. So she's off in public school now, and I still have my kindergartner and my 2nd grader that I'm homeschooling. I love crystals, incense, oracle, and tarot cards, abundance rituals, candles. I have a candle going right next to me right now. Working with energy, working with the universe, working with universal laws. I love doing self-hypnosis and consistently going in and giving myself upgrades energetically. I have a lot of plants that I love and I care for, and I am obsessed with being in nature, taking walks, hikes, being by the water, etc. I'm also a big foodie, but not just American food. I do live in the United States in an area called the Pacific Northwest, but it is my absolute favorite to branch out and try new cultural foods. And last but not least, I am obsessed with booking my family weekend Airbnbs just for like a little staycation. I try to do it, if not every month, every other month or so. It really helps me reset energetically. I always get the most beautiful downloads for my business and new classes and new offerings to share with you. And it's just really expansive. It's a way that I've found that is a fun way to really tap into that frequency of wealth. So that's me. This is today's agenda, what we're going to cover. So we are going to be going over what timeline jumping is. That's typically the first question that people have is like, what the hell are you talking about? How I crafted and created the timeline jumping process. This is something that I've been working with for about 18 months now. Started teaching this last year at the end of July 2024. So it's been a little bit over a year, and I did have an offering called the How to Jump Timelines Academy, which has since been retired. So all of the information that I used to teach inside of the academy is going to be condensed into this masterclass so that you get literally everything that you could possibly need to know about timeline jumping, what's possible for you. Also, how to get off of lower vibrational timelines and out of time loops. We're also going to be talking about and showing you how to craft, create, and activate a new timeline for yourself. We're going to talk a little bit about the purging process that happens occasionally when you choose to activate a new timeline. And then we are also going to be going over how to trigger your new timeline to come in and drop into your 3D reality as quickly as possible. So let's dive in. We'll start with what exactly is timeline jumping. So timeline jumping is going to be the art of drastically shifting from one reality into another of your choosing. And this happens really, really quickly, like quantum fast. So an example that happened in my life that maybe some of you can relate to is being capped energetically, like working as hard as you possibly can, but no matter what you do, you can't get past a certain income level. Maybe that's $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, maybe more. But for today's purpose, we will consistently be going back to the example of going from being capped at $2,000 a month, moving into $20,000 a month faster than you would think possible. And then the key here is effortlessly maintaining the results because you are on a new frequency and timeline. So this is not just a one-time manifestation where you get it to drop into your reality and then it leaves. Timeline jumping is all about getting to literally a new timeline where that is your new foundational baseline and it doesn't just come in and leave. So timeline jumping is all about collapsing the in-between time from where you are right now and where you want to be, aligning your energy so that your desired reality can really drop in really, really fast, like quantum fast. And I will give you guys examples of what this has looked like for me and how quickly this can happen. But the main thing that I want you to remember about this is instead of climbing a ladder slowly and just seeing the incremental changes, what you're doing is you're energetically stepping into the new version of yourself who already lives in the reality that you want. And your external world simply rearranges itself to match your new frequency. So how is this process created? How did I create this particular process? No one teaches timeline jumping the way that I do. This is something that I've been very intentional with crafting and creating on my own. So I have crafted and created this process based on a few different things. Number one, quantum physics. Two different pieces of quantum physics, one being the double-slit experiment that we'll go over, and the second piece of this being the many worlds theory. Then I mainly work with the universal laws of attraction, vibration, and correspondence. There are 12 universal laws, but we're going to narrow in on 3 of them today to really prove out this concept to you and explain how this works. Then the study of water and how it reacts to commands. There's a really interesting book that was written by Dr. Emoto, and it's called The Hidden Messages in Water. And this has a lot of science around how the body or how water reacts to different vibrations and words. And as you know, we are mainly water as humans, so we will go into a little bit around that. Then I've also based this off of the science of the subconscious mind, personal experience, of course, and then because I've been teaching this for over 18 months, I've had over 3,000 students go through this process. So this is also crafted and curated and updated around the experiences of over 3,000 of my personal students as well. So let's start by highlighting the double-slit experiment. If this is something that you haven't heard about, we're going to break it down as simply as possible. And if you want to do some research on your own and really dive into this on your own time, you absolutely can as well. So I want you to imagine that you are shooting tiny particles like electrons or photons at a wall with 2 slits in it. Behind the wall is a screen that shows where the particles land. This is an actual study that was done by scientists. If one slit is open, the particles make a band on the screen, just like you'd expect. There is a light shining through here that is allowing scientists to observe how these different electrons and photons are acting once they go through these slits. However, if both of the slits are open, something wild happens. Instead of the 2 bands being reflected on that back screen, you get an interference pattern, like ripples from the 2 light waves overlapping. It's as if each particle went through both slits at the same time and interfered with itself. So, in really, really simple terms, basically what is happening is the moment that the scientists placed a detector to see which slit the particle was going through, the wave pattern disappeared. The particles stopped acting like waves and go back to behaving like tiny marbles forming two bands. A very simple explanation and conclusion of what this means, I know it's really scientific, is that they discovered that the act of observing or measuring changes the outcome. Basically, as scientists were observing these different particles, they were reacting differently depending on which scientist was observing them. And therefore, they concluded that reality doesn't decide, or it doesn't form fully, or it doesn't concrete itself until it's observed by the observer, being you. Meaning, you are the observer of your life. So, as you decide what you want your reality to look like, as you craft and create your ideal timeline, reality obeys. You are literally a co-creator with Source, with God, with the universe. And as not only the observer, but as the co-creator, you have metaphysical power, but also just on a scientific level, the way that the universe and the world and the laws of the universe that we are in currently work. You have the power to literally rearrange reality to be based upon what you would like to see. It's pretty wild. So if you would love to do some more research on this, feel free. The second theory that we're looking at within quantum physics is the many worlds theory. And I want you to imagine this theory like an old school radio, or even you could think about like an old school TV channel, or like a TV where you have to actually turn the dial to tune into these different channels. So all the stations are existing at the same time, right? On a radio, AM, FM, but you're only hearing the one that you're tuned into, right? And especially if you're hearing some static and then you just very gently turn that dial until you get that crystal clear sound, as long as you don't touch the dial, you are tuned into whatever radio station is coming through most clearly. But that doesn't mean that the other channels stop existing, right? So the many worlds theory in quantum physics suggests something very similar. Every possible outcome already exists on its own timeline. Anything that you could possibly think of, dream up, etc., already exists, similar to different stations playing on different frequencies. So when you make the choice, or you as the observer make an observation, you're not just creating a single outcome, you are tuning into one of these pre-existing frequencies or timelines. The other possibilities don't necessarily disappear, they just continue on their own parallel timelines. In other words, multiple realities are happening at once, and the version of you making $2,000 a month and the version of you making $20,000 a month are existing simultaneously. Even versions of you living in a completely different reality. Maybe there's a version of you that's making $1 million a month. All of these are existing simultaneously. You are experiencing the one that your vibration is currently tuned into. So when we are using the timeline jumping process, we are actually reprogramming your frequency. We are teaching you how to turn the dial on this quantum radio, on this quantum television, so that you can tune into different realities. But you also have to be the one to decide, as the observer, as the co-creator with Source, with God, with the universe, which reality you want to turn into. Otherwise, it's like you're just clicking the scan button and you're just getting whatever the universe, God gives you, right? Which is why most of us up until this point, have things happen in life that it feels like it's completely out of our control. And most of the times it is, because we are not being intentional with crafting and creating the timeline that we want to be existing on. The cool thing too is once you learn this process, you can use it over and over and over and over and over again. So this really is genuinely a life skill that you are going to be able to take with you forever. 3 universal laws that we're going to be highlighting: the law of attraction, law of vibration, and law of correspondence. Again, you can dive more deeply into this on your own time and study the other 9 laws as well if you choose. Or what is it? Yeah, 9 laws. I'm like, did I just do the math wrong? No, other 9 laws. Okay, so number 1, law of attraction. So this law simply states that like energy attracts like energy. So what you focus on is what you're going to magnetize and pull into your reality. This is one of those laws that even if you don't believe in it, it is still active. It's like a light switch that doesn't turn off. So even if you don't believe in the law of attraction, Up until this point, it has still been active in your life, attracting things to you that you focus your energy on. But this isn't just consciously focusing your energy on, this is also subconscious focus as well. And we'll talk about the subconscious mind in a little bit. The second law is the law of correspondence, which is just stating that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. It's basically as above, so below, as within, so without. So when you change the inside, what's going on in the inside of your body, your thoughts, your belief, your operating system, your baseline frequency, you are then going to experience that outer reality shift. So an example for this would be as you shift your inner belief to money, from money is hard into money flows with ease, your reality is going to start reflecting that back to you. So this is also based on the conversations that you're having. Like, the universe is always listening. So even if you were to just take a moment to take inventory of the conversations that you've been having over the last 48 hours or 72 hours or over the last week, you don't even have to go back years. Just looking at your current vibration right now, the things that you find yourself paying attention to, the media that you find yourself watching, the conversations you find yourself drawn into, how you're talking about other people, how you're talking about yourself, how you're talking about your life, how you're talking about your money situation. All of these are really great indicators of where your current vibrational frequency is. And if you're really honest with yourself and you look at what's going on inside of you and what your current thoughts are, it's probably not going to be a huge shock how your current life is being reflected on your external 3D reality. Additionally, we have the law of vibration, which is stating that everything is energy, and energy is consistently in motion all the time, and it's always vibrating at these different frequencies, including you. This law reaffirms that you're not going to just attract what you want. This is a misconception with the law of attraction. You don't attract what you want, you attract more of what you are. The universe doesn't give you what you want, it just gives you more of who you are. It's a consistent mirror reflecting back to you what's available to you at any given time. You are only going to be able to attract what you are a vibrational match to. This is why I very consistently say everything that you want is available to you. If you want it, you just simply have to become a vibrational match to it. And I also say the universe can only work with you to the extent that your vibrational frequency allows it to. If you want more, change your frequency. So an example of an affirmation around this would be, when I raise my vibration by feeling joy, peace, and expansion, I align with timelines where money, love, and opportunities flow freely. Alrighty, let's go to the next page. So now we have the study of water, and we're going to look at this as vibrational behavior. So research by Dr. Emoto and others showed that water responds to vibration, sound, and even words. So when water was exposed to positive words, loving intentions, or harmonious music, it formed really beautiful crystal patterns when it was frozen. However, when it was exposed to negative words, harsh sounds, or chaotic energy, the water crystals became really disorganized and distorted when frozen. So why does this matter for us? Because the human body is made up of about 90% water at birth and about 70% water as adults. Right before death, if you make it to like your late, let's say 80s, 90s, you're down to about 50% water. So this means that the vibration that we hold, the words that we speak to ourselves, the things that we're consistently consuming and allowing to be spoken to us and over us, and the energy that we immerse ourselves in, it doesn't just stay in our mind. It's not something that's external. It physically influences our bodies at a cellular level, and this is important. In other words, the frequency that you carry is imprinted into your body's waters. Those vibrations are going to ripple outward, pun intended, into the reality that you are experiencing, which means when we really grasp this concept, we can do something positive with this instead of just allowing ourselves to be affected by the chaotic energy. And I think we can all agree the state of the world right now and the state of most people's lives, including the people in our inner circles, is very chaotic. Then we have the subconscious mind. This is what I call the ruler of all, because it controls about 95% of your thoughts, behaviors, and responses. But it's like an operating system that is running quietly in the background. It's not something that you're consciously aware of. So unlike the conscious mind, which is going to make those deliberate decisions, the subconscious mind is running on programs. So these are the beliefs, the patterns, and the conditionings that you've picked up throughout life. And this starts very, very, very young, especially ages 7 and under, when you're like a sponge and your brain is making all different types of neural pathways and connections, and you're trying to make sense of everything. And you're picking up beliefs not only from the things that you are hearing, but the things that you're observing as well. These subconscious programs aren't just in your head. They're not just influencing the way that your mind works. They directly influence your body. So the nervous system, your hormones, and even your immune system can respond to the beliefs and the emotions that you carry deep within. Another great example of this is the book, The Body Keeps the Score. And it's about how energetic imprints of trauma, negativity, things that you went through can stay literally trapped in your physical body, creating energetic blocks, creating pain, creating almost like a magnet repelling things away from you. And I talk about this a lot when I talk about clearing your energetic money blocks. This also goes for the subconscious mind. There are so many different blocks that get stored in our subconscious mind that are affecting the way that the universe and reality can interact with us, because these things are encoded, even if you're not consciously aware of this. So for example, if your conscious mind if your subconscious mind is wired for scarcity, your body may stay in a stress or a survival mode. On the other hand, if your subconscious mind is programmed with safety and abundance, your body is able to relax, heal, and is more open to receiving. So examples of how I've used the process that we'll be discussing today in these different pieces that we've already gone over and explored together. Examples of my biggest timeline jumps. The biggest increase for me happened all at once when I was able to move from a $2,000 month in July of 2025 to a $60,000 month in July 2024 to a $60,000 month in August of 2024 within 1 month. What was really cool about this jump is I had been manifesting $20,000 months all year up until that point. And it was interesting because at the end of each month, I didn't have my $60,000 month until August. And so up until that point, the purging process was super prevalent for me. We'll go over what that can kind of look like a little bit later in the class. And I remember really kind of brainwashing myself, and I would gaslight myself in a positive way at the end of the month, where I would be looking at my statements, I'd be looking at my bank accounts, I'd be looking at my business. Very consistently, I was making less than $1,000 a month. I remember in June of 2024, so even 1 month right before a $2,000 month, in June of 2024, my business had brought in $71. So there was no physical evidence of this, no physical proof that I should be believing that $20,000 months were on their way. And yet, at the end of every single month, I would gaslight myself in a positive way and say, well, do I have any proof that I didn't have a $20,000 month? Maybe it's just kind of stuck somewhere in the quantum, and maybe it will find a way to find me. And sure enough, I believe that my $60,000 month was back pay, was a lump sum of 3 of the $20,000 months that I had been manifesting. It allowed me to really reset my life, pay off all my debt, but most importantly, it helped me to anchor into the frequency of 5-figure months. When I tell you I have not dropped below 5-figure months since that day, I have not dropped below 5-figure months. I've very consistently brought in 5 and multi-5-figure months. So, and this was after 10 plus years of being capped at about $5,000 a month, no matter what I was doing. I did so many different things as an entrepreneur to try and push myself past that. I even went and got a remote job working in corporate America, and that was a great salary. It was still like an $83,000 a year salary, and yet when the money was coming in that way, all of the other income sources dried up because energetically I was capped at about $5,000 a month no matter what I did. When I was able to make this timeline jump, I was really easily able to transition onto a timeline where I'm experiencing very, very consistent $20,000 and $30,000 months every single month now. And I've been consciously going in and crafting and creating a new timeline where I get to very soon shift on to a timeline where I get to experience six-figure months. So, and it's going to be the exact same process that I used to get from $2,000 a month or $2,000 a month to $20,000 a month is the exact same process that I'm going to use to get from $20,000 and $30,000 a month back up to consistent $50,000 and $60,000 months and then into $100,000 plus months. I was also able to manifest a new car for my family. I tell you, this happened so fast. Literally opened my phone, saw it online, and within a week it was sitting in our garage. It happened so fast. I had never had anything car related go so easily and work so well. We manifested an insane deal with the newest car we've ever had, the lowest mileage we've ever had, an insane deal. We were able to get out of our old contract with our other car really easily. Like, it was absolutely seamless and it happened so quickly. I was also able to manifest our home in our dream neighborhood after 13 years of living in apartments. When I tell you it is my absolute dream area, I feel so abundant living in this area. Every time I go on a walk in this neighborhood, my mind is just blown at how beautifully this whole thing has worked out. I was also able to manifest my dream social media following. Absolutely not stagnant. This continues to grow every single day. I'm currently, at the time of filming this, I'm filming this in October 2025. I'm at about 300,000 followers combined on the two major platforms in only 18 months after 11 years of being a social media strategist, content creator, influencer, and not being able to get past 20,000 followers no matter what I did. So huge quantum leap there as well. More fun results with my timeline jumps. I very recently, actually just yesterday, was able to manifest the perfect Airbnb for my LA trip after nothing being even close to what I was able to lock in, being available for over a month. So that was really, really fun to watch that fall into place. I've manifested my family members that I had to go no contact with for various reasons, start to initiate contact on their own and text me first after years of having to be the one to chase them down and try to have them be willingly in my life. I manifested my husband being supportive of my spiritual business after months of him feeling extremely uncomfortable and unsupportive of my work. I've been able to manifest my husband's current job with the best insurance benefits we've ever had, the highest salary he's ever had, the elevated medical care experience in itself for myself and my family has been mind-blowing to experience after years of really, really shitty and just poor medical experiences. And then last but not least, manifesting winning a second award for a second quarter in a row for my energy healing container Reiki for Riches. But the cool thing was, it wasn't just that I won the award, and to give you an idea, it means that I was in the top 5 of fastest growing spiritual communities on the school platform that I host it on. And this is out of a total of about 170,000 communities total. So that's really dope. But not only was I able to win 2 times in a row, which is rare, I was also able to win with the exact monthly recurring revenue that I wanted and scripted for myself. Literally have screenshots and everything of exactly how I claimed it, used the timeline jumping process, and was able to activate that. It was really cool to see how that worked. So, but I'm not the only one that has results with this. As I mentioned, I have led over 3,000 students through this process. I only pulled just a few testimonials of over 100 different testimonials that I have that are very similar to this, but so many different things that students were able to manifest with this process, discounts on their mortgage payments and life-changing timeline jumps, a new BMW, a raise at their job, a romantic partnership that is really soul aligned, refunds in the thousands of dollars, life just working out for them, synchronicities, thousands of dollars in extra income every month. Like, this has really truly been a process that it has been such a joy watching it work in my life and then in my students' lives as well. So let's move into talking about where you probably most likely currently are. This is probably why this class really spoke to you, really stuck out to you, and really called you in. Very likely you are currently experiencing what I call lower vibrational timelines. And this is where you are replaying and repeating the same dense and lower vibrational and more difficult time loops over and over and over again, where no matter what you do, it feels like you're attracting the worst versions of people, places, and experiences. And it just feels frustrating. It feels like, why has it been years? And no matter what I do, no matter where I go, I still continue to experience the same traps or the same problems or the same drama or things just not working out for me, or those experiences in life where it just feels like you have bad luck. So examples of this would be, instead of life flowing, it just consistently feels heavy. Your body feels heavy, your spirit feels heavy, your mind feels heavy, your emotions feel heavy. You feel like you're walking through water or quicksand where everything feels like it's just dragging down on you. The relationships that you find yourself in, both platonic, work relationships, and romantic relationships, family relationships, bring more drama and chaos than they do love and acceptance. The opportunities that come into your life feel like there's always a string attached, and or it's never as good as you expected it to be. The feeling of like the other shoe dropping, the feeling of this is too good to be true, and then turns out that it is. And then the last thing that we see very consistently on lower vibrational timelines is money showing up almost like teasing you. Like it shows up only to slip away just as quickly. And so it's this really draining emotional relationship with money where you start to almost build this resentment because you're like, why is it that I can't get out of these paycheck to paycheck situations? Or why is it that I'm capped energetically at a certain income level? And then even if I do have a little bit more money that I manifest and it shows up, all of a sudden I have a bill that pops up, or an unexpected expense, or my car breaks down, or something negative happens where I have to watch that money flow right back out. It creates so much frustration. So if this is what's happening in your life currently, trust and believe I understand exactly the level of just defeat that you can feel when these things are happening really consistently. This isn't because you're cursed. Nobody put a curse or a hex on you. This isn't because you are inherently wrong or sinful or that you don't deserve a good life. This is simply because your energy is still anchored in an old frequency or a lower vibrational frequency, and the universe can only mirror that back to you. So lower vibrational timelines are built on scarcity, survival mode, fear, self-doubt, trauma, all of these denser emotions that it genuinely just keeps you feeling stuck and trapped. And the truth is that as long as you're vibrating there, as long as you consistently, you need a pattern interruption, because as long as you are consistently in that vibration, the reality that plays itself out is just going to continue to reflect this back to you again and again. This is also where you can experience time loops and traps. And if it's difficult for you to see this playing out in your own life, I want you to think about somebody that's a little bit older than you, maybe a parent, maybe an aunt or an uncle, maybe your grandparent, where you look at them and you're like, I've been watching you deal with the same shit for like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. You never get out. These are time loops that people can get trapped in. One of the clearest signs that you're stuck on a lower vibrational timeline is finding yourself caught in these time loops where these same experiences, energies, and patterns just keep repeating, no matter how much energy and intention you are putting into trying to move on. So this can feel like you are dating the same types of partners in a different body. You're like, holy shit, why does it feel like every relationship that I'm in, it's like the same spirit, the same entity, the same personality. You're hitting the same financial ceilings in your business. You're watching the same conflicts play out in different settings. The key here, it's a trick. It really is very tricky and sticky because the names and the faces of the situation may change, but the energy remains the same. So even if you feel like, oh, I left this one job and I just got a new job, and you have this moment of maybe things will get better, but then you get into that new job and the same thing starts playing out again, it can really feel defeating. It can feel very claustrophobic is like the word that's like coming to me. It just feels like, why can't I get out of this? But these loops are happening because firstly, you haven't learned the lesson that you need to learn. There's some sort of lesson, there's some sort of experience here that the universe, that your soul contract is waiting for you to alchemize, and your frequency is still locked into that old timeline or that lower vibration. And until you shift your vibration and learn the lesson and master that level and release the imprint that's holding you there, the universe really has no choice but to keep mirroring back the same storylines again and again and again. They're trying to give you another chance. I also call this the law of rewrite, which is great because if you notice yourself in a time loop, maybe if not currently, if you've ever been trapped in one, or you can recognize that other people in your life have been trapped in one, very consistently, we associate this with a negative thing, but it can also be a positive thing, meaning if we know that the universe is going to give you another chance to notice what's going on, to heal, and to choose differently, it means that whenever you're ready to get out of that loop, there is going to be another opportunity that presents itself for you to master that lesson and move on. You're not stuck. You're genuinely not stuck. I know it can feel like it, but you are not stuck. You're never actually stuck in one place because nothing is. Everything in this universe is in constant motion because everything is energy. If you were to even zoom in on your physical body, you are 99% space, and even the little energetic particles that make you up are vibrating. Everything around you, like nothing around you is actually solid. If you were to zoom in far enough, you would find a bunch of particles that are grouping themselves together and holding themselves in place. But in reality, everything is vibrating, everything is moving. And if we also take what we learned in the double-slit experiment, where reality is waiting for you to decree and command and really be intentional with crafting and creating your ideal reality so that it can rearrange itself based on what you prefer, you're never stuck. And the tools that we're going to really dive into today are going to encourage you and help affirm to you that at any point in time, you can shift your vibration and step off these lower vibrational timelines. And we are going to lead you through how to really effortlessly create the space for a completely different reality to take shape. When you jump timelines, everything begins to reorganize itself around the new frequency that you master. So you're going to notice that suddenly life feels really light and supportive. The closed doors that you once kept running into over and over and over again start swinging wide open. Instead of that energy of feeling like you got left out in the hallway and no doors are opening, you could potentially have multiple different timelines open up, multiple different options for you to choose from. Opportunities don't just appear, they expand with ease. The people that you attract and meet begin to meet you and match your energy at your highest self, reflecting back love and respect and abundance instead of draining your energy. So that is another clear sign that you are trapped on lower vibrational timelines, is if all of your relationships are simply there to drain you, take advantage of you, or they are simply not interested in reciprocity. They're simply not interested in reciprocating the immense time and love and energy that you pour into other people. They are simply being energy vampires. If you have a lot of energy vampires in your life that are just draining the life and the source energy from you, you absolutely need to be intentional with working on your frequency and crafting and creating a new timeline so that you can experience the community that Source, God, the universe actually has for you and would love for you to be surrounded by. I want you to also remember that even though we're going to be going through a very specific process on how you can activate a new timeline so that you feel really supported in this, it doesn't always have to be this really big ritual. It can be as simple as making a new choice. Every time that you choose differently, you're unplugging from an old frequency and opening the door to a higher one. So this can look like reacting differently when you normally spiral or shut down, walking away from a job or relationship that no longer supports your growth, launching a new offer in your business that feels more aligned with your soul's work, pulling your energy out of something that's draining you so that it no longer dictates your reality. Like even with this class that I'm filming for you right now, as soon as I release it, it's activating a new timeline because on an old timeline, I didn't have this offer available. On the new timeline, I do. And so therefore it's a new wealth channel that I've opened up that source can bring more abundance to me through it. Does that make sense? So it doesn't have to be this really difficult process. It really can be simple. So how to know when you've landed on a new timeline? Let's go over some telltale signs. So the first thing that you're going to notice is internal shifts. So how you feel within. And very often this happens before you see any external shifts because again, that law of correspondence, as within, so without. So internally, you're going to start feeling different first. Your job is to hold that frequency, hold the difference in your body, and trust that eventually your 3D reality, your external reality is going to catch up. There is something in manifestation that we call a lag time, where you're in this void a little bit, where the new timeline has been crafted, created, and even activated, but you're in the corridor between timelines. It's almost like I want you to imagine this like quantum hallway, and you open one door and you step out of one door and you close it behind you, and then you're in the hallway and you see the other door and it's already defined and it's already creating this beautiful world behind the closed door, but it's not quite unlocked yet. And you're just kind of having to stand in the hallway and wait for the door to fully unlock. So you're in between these two timelines. While you're in between these two timelines, the first thing that you're going to notice are these internal shifts. So you may feel lighter in your body as if a weight has been lifted. Old triggers aren't going to affect you the same way anymore. You're going to notice that you're more calm. You have more trust in your body towards other people, towards yourself, towards the universe, towards your process, towards your life. And you're going to notice more ease in your nervous system. Your intuition may feel sharper and easier to follow. And generally, there's just this sense of possibility and expansion that wasn't there before. It's like the light comes back on. It's like the flame finally rekindles itself within you, and you feel optimistic about what life has to offer and that things can change, that they can get better for you. You genuinely feel that. It's not just a toxic positivity, yeah, things can shift and change. You genuinely start to feel that in your body. The second thing that we start to see is the external reflection. So what you notice around you. So you'll start to notice new opportunities suddenly appearing out of nowhere, synchronicities, angel numbers, repeating signs, divine timing showing up consistently. People in your life begin to treat you with more respect, support, and recognition. Situations that once felt blocked now open effortlessly. The wrong people, jobs, or commitments fall away without as much resistance. The other thing that my students and I have noticed is what I call the energetic leaks in your life, especially money leaks, get patched before the new money starts coming in. So one of the ways that you can start to see this is you might start getting refunds on things, or maybe your bills start to get lowered. This is why my students start seeing like their mortgage payments dropping, or they get these refunds that they weren't expecting because there were energetic leaks that were pulling your money and your resources and your energy away from you. And what happens when you are activating this new timeline is those energetic leaks no longer exist on that new timeline. Therefore, the universe, the universal energies have no choice but to go in and patch those leaks for you because that doesn't exist on your new timeline. On your new timeline, things are working perfectly for you. Everything is working out for you at all times. So that is another thing that you will notice in your external reality as well, is things not only working out easily for you, but I've had students that are like, holy shit, a claim from an insurance thing that got denied 6 months in a row that I had completely lost hope on randomly opened itself back up and approved itself overnight. I've genuinely had that happen. I've had people share that they applied for a refund or something from a settlement 2 years ago, completely forgot about it. As soon as they started doing this work, they got a check in the mail for that rebate. Very consistently, even with little things like all of a sudden someone offers to cover your bills for the month, or you get accepted into a discounted energy rebate program. There are so many different ways that the universe will come in and patch those energetic leaks, because sometimes it's not just about manifesting more money or more opportunities. Sometimes it's about keeping those things in your reality that need to be there and not having them fall away. So this is really exciting, especially if you've had money come in and leave really quickly. Starting to see these energetic leaks being patched is one of the first signs that you will have that you are shifting onto a new timeline where that's not going to happen anymore. It's really, really encouraging when that starts to happen. The third thing that you will see is money and abundance will start to flow. So you'll start to see unexpected money show up, refunds, gifts, surprise checks, payments, sales, and clients and business opportunities start arriving faster and more easily. Maybe at one point on your old timeline, you could only sign 5 customers a week, and that felt like a stretch. And now you're really easily pulling in 5 new clients a day. Or maybe, again, you couldn't get that visibility, or you couldn't quite get your marketing down, and all of a sudden, bam, you get hit with this idea that's like so much clarity, makes so much sense, you implement it, and all of a sudden, like, you go viral. I've had that happen as well. Students have had that happen as well. Again, those bills or those debts feel easier to handle with solutions aligning naturally. I have also had students jump to timelines where it wasn't their intention at all to have their debts forgiven. It wasn't their intention at all to have medical bills forgiven. But I've had it happen about 10 different times with 10 different students where something that they were going up against, whether it was a medical bill, a court-ordered debt, something along those lines, just be forgiven. One of my students inside of Reiki for Riches, once she cleared her energy blocks, she had $55,000 in student loans forgiven. So there really is no limit on how the universe can start to bring more abundance to you and how the universe can start to bring more ease to you. You may also start to notice that you feel more worthy and safe receiving and holding larger amounts of money. And instead of chasing, abundance starts to feel like it's just being pulled towards you, like it's being magnetized towards you. I had one student that said that she had someone literally chasing her down, trying to give her money. They were calling all of these different numbers, trying to track down her current phone number. They were trying to track down her current address. And it was a multi-5-figure check that they literally chased her down to get her information so that they could send this rebate, this refund to her. So it's going to blow your mind how easily abundance can start to find you, and all the different channels and all the different ways that abundance can find you when you start to really craft and create these new timelines for yourself. Last but not least, you're going to notice what I call a reality recalibration. This is life upgrades and expansion. So you're going to look around and realize that your daily life feels completely different. Relationships and environments feel nourishing instead of draining. What once felt impossible or too big suddenly feels normal. Time-bending goals that should have taken years begin unfolding within weeks or days. You're just going to have this sense of feeling like you've jumped ahead into a new version of yourself, this version that you've always envisioned, but it just felt really far away. It's genuinely like bringing the future into the now is basically what this is. Let's explore the primary pieces of timeline jumping. So this is a highlight of the 4 primary pieces. The first one is going to be awareness. The second one is going to be release. The third one is going to be alignment. And the fourth one is going to be activation. So number 1, awareness. You cannot shift what you're not aware of. So the first step in this process is going to be recognizing the patterns, the beliefs, and the energetic loops that have kept you anchored into these lower vibrational realities. This awareness is going to bring the hidden to light, and then we can move into release. We're going to work on releasing the patterns, beliefs, and energetic imprints that have kept you stuck in those scarcity, lower vibrational timelines or survival mode, and you're going to create the space for a completely different reality to take shape. So this is where healing clears the old frequencies that no longer serves you. And this is where you're going to be working with your subconscious mind to reprogram yourself for your new timeline. Alignment. Once the old energy is released, you begin aligning with the frequency of your desired reality. So this means embodying the version of you who already lives in the timeline that you're calling in through thought, emotion, action, and vibration. And last but not least, we will have activation. So finally, you're going to be activating that new timeline. So this is where the quantum leap moment comes in, where the external world reorganizes itself to match your internal vibration. So life begins to feel lighter, opportunities expand, and again, you're going to start attracting those people and opportunities and experiences that are meeting you at your highest self. So I have some journaling and reflection questions for you on each of these pieces. This is obviously recorded already for you so that you can pause this. You can come back to these questions if you want to later. You can take a screenshot if that's easier for you, but I want you to genuinely spend some time with these questions. I would love for you to sit down and actually write this out. There's something really alchemizing and magical about sitting down with a pen and a paper and really putting some thought into this and then using your own energy to write out your answers. But if you feel resistance to that, or you aren't comfortable with that for whatever reason, or you just don't have the time, at least spend some time genuinely asking these questions to yourself, or maybe pondering them in the background, maybe while you're doing the dishes or taking a shower or going for a drive. So the first question is going to be, what recurring patterns do I notice in my life? Relationships, money, career, and health. Okay, so this is the awareness piece. Where do I keep ending up in the same type of situation, even if the details or the people change? What beliefs about myself, money, love, or success have I been carrying that might be keeping me small or stuck? When I think about abundance or expansion, what fears, doubt, or what ifs immediately pop up? What comes up to the surface for you? Do I feel like I'm living in survival mode more often than I'm living in trust and flow? And what areas of my life is this showing up? Or where in your body does this show up? What emotions do you have that seem to be on play or the repeating in a loop in your life? So this could be like fear, guilt, shame, anger, etc. So really explore this. In what areas of my life do I feel like I keep hitting a ceiling or circling back through the same loop again and again? Last but not least for this awareness piece, where do I notice myself shrinking, people-pleasing, or holding back my truth? That is important because as you are crafting and creating your new timeline, a new version of yourself is going to emerge or have to emerge that is more empowered, that takes up more space, that isn't afraid of what people think of them. So noticing where that's already showing up in your life, where you find yourself shrinking, where you find yourself dimming your light, where you find yourself holding back your truth is going to be really important as we move into these next pieces. Next, we're going to go into the release portion of this. So you're going to ask yourself, what am I truly ready to let go of that no longer serves your highest self? Okay. What in your life are you still operating, or where in your life are you still operating from fear, scarcity, or in a survival mode? What old stories around money, love, or worthiness feel heavy every single time you think of them? What emotions or memories keep looping and replaying again and again that you know are ready to be released? Where do you still feel tied, to the expectation of others instead of your own desires? Who or what are you energetically still tied to through resentment, guilt, shame, or regret that you're ready to energetically cut those cords with? How would it feel in your body, mind, and spirit to finally let this go? With this release piece, I'm actually going to suggest that even if you don't do the other ones on paper, I would suggest that you do this one on paper. There is something, again, really alchemizing about actually writing it down. And then instead of keeping these as an act of actually going in and releasing this energy, I want you to take it outside, put it in a fire safe container, or put it on your grill, or put it in a fire pit. And I want you to actually burn it. And I want you to imagine this energy being alchemized. So really spend some time getting clear on what stories you're ready to release, what emotions you're ready to release, what people you're ready to release. And with the act of burning this release letter, we call it a release letter, You are going to be sending an energetic signal to the universe that you are really ready to be done with this. There is some really magical properties in doing this, okay? Next, for the alignment piece, your questions are going to be, and this is really where we start to get clear on crafting and creating your ideal timeline. So if you were already living in your desired timeline, how would you think, feel, and act? How would that be different than what you're experiencing right now? What daily habits or rituals would have the most potent effect? And what would your highest version of yourself already be naturally embodying? How would you speak to yourself if you fully believed in your worth and your ability to create abundance? This is a big one. What emotions would you want to feel more often, and how can you intentionally cultivate and tap into them now? What choices are you making out of fear or habit that the higher version of yourself would no longer choose? What does success look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like in the timeline that you're stepping into? Who are the types of people that you naturally attract in this new vibration, and how do they treat you? And how can you begin to show up today as if you already belong in the reality that you're calling in? Last but not least, we have the activation reflection questions. So where is the evidence, or what evidence do you already see that your new timeline is starting to take shape? Really finding proof, really building legs under the table of your new reality is going to be important for your nervous system, for your subconscious to really latch onto that and pull it into your current reality. Instead of it being in the future, you're going to be looking for evidence that it's already happening right now. How does life feel lighter or more expansive since you're aligning with this new vibration? What synchronicities, if you don't know what those are like coincidences that are too coincidental to be coincidences, if that makes sense. You're like, okay, this is a little bit too weird. There's literally no way that this would happen by accident. This has to be a sign. So synchronicities are like signs that you absolutely cannot ignore, or things that it's like you speak someone's name or you think about someone and they call you like 2 seconds later and you're like, that was weird. Or you are thinking about someone and then someone walks past and says that person's name in conversation with someone else. Or you see something in a movie and it catches your attention, and then you're driving down the street and you look at a billboard and that billboard has the exact same thing that caught your attention in the movie. It's signs that start to make everything feel connected. It's signs that make everything feel like the universe is conspiring to get your attention, okay? So this can happen through repeating numbers, like angel numbers. Like if you're like, holy shit, everywhere I look, I see 1111, signifying new beginnings. Or everywhere I look, every license plate I see, every receipt that I look at, I see 888, which is all about new abundance coming in. So these signs will start to pick up for you more consistently, and they will be showing up for you in your reality as a confirmation. So it's really cool and important while you are searching for proof for the evidence of the new timeline being activated, that you keep track of these different synchronicities, angel numbers, divine signs, etc., that have been showing up for you as confirmation. This also helps build your trust with the universe that things are consistently working out for you. So next question, what opportunities or connections have appeared in your life that really help you feel like you're aligning with your highest self? How can you celebrate and anchor these shifts so that they continue to grow stronger? Where do you notice your life moving faster than before, aka manifestations are landing a lot sooner than expected, especially if you had been trying your best to pull that into your life for months or years, and then all of a sudden it falls in a matter of days. That's really important. Take note of that. What old cycles have naturally fallen away without you forcing them to? And if you fully trusted that your new timeline was already activated, how would you be carrying yourself from this moment forward? So again, like I said, pause, reflect, screenshot if you need to, or just revisit this portion of the class later. But I really want you to spend time with each of these questions, okay? All right, now we are going to be going into the actual process that I teach my students for how to easily go in and do what I call a reality reprogramming. So this is the actual timeline jumping process that you will be enacting. First things first, we need to get your subconscious on board and active in this process. Reality reprogramming is going to be how we activate the timeline jump through the subconscious mind, the part of you that's quietly running the show 95% of the time. Your subconscious mind is going to hold those core beliefs, the patterns, and the energetic imprints that are determining your underlying frequency, that frequency that's literally being beamed into the universe like a homing device that's pulling things into your current reality that are a match. That frequency is what reality is consistently mirroring back to you. So if you want to kind of take inventory of what that is, simply look at your external reality right now. If the subconscious is still programmed with that scarcity, fear, or unworthiness, then no matter how much conscious effort you're putting into trying to get out, you're going to replay the same timeline, which we talked about. So in order to shift timelines, we first bring awareness to how the subconscious is wired, and then we're going to consciously redefine the timeline that we want. So we do this by deciding the beliefs, emotions, and experiences that belong in the reality that we're calling in. Essentially, we are actually going in and writing the energetic code of the new version of us. So like if you're coding a website, or you're coding a program, or if you've watched the Matrix movies and you see how once they're out of the Matrix, everything that's quote unquote in the Matrix looks like just like a bunch of green numbers on the screen. In an energetic and quantum way, what you're doing is you're creating a new energetic code for your new reality to reflect back to you, and you're going to do this with a scripting process. Once you're really clear on what that timeline looks like, what you want to call in, how you want to feel, how you want your reality to reflect back to you, we're going to use repetition to lock it in. So this is where what I call your timeline jumping script comes in. You are going to record yourself speaking this affirmation, this script that you write. So the affirmations, the commands, the declarations in your own voice, aligning with that new timeline. And then you are going to create a 20-minute video that loops this message. You're going to be listening to it daily, ideally in a meditative state. The subconscious learns through repetition, and the more that you hear your own voice declaring that reality, the faster your frequency is going to recalibrate. It takes down any subconscious resistance to what your body needs to fully accept that this is your reality, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. This is also why if you wanted to make a vision board and you wanted something maybe visual to go with this script, you could literally use Canva or Photoshop to maybe take a screenshot of your bank account, edit the number in there that you wanted, put that as your background or as part of this timeline jumping script for yourself, and look at it as many times as possible. Your brain will not know that that amount of money is not in your account. In fact, something really interesting happens, especially when you use this example as something that you actually enact. I do this all the time for myself. Your body starts to believe, your subconscious starts to believe that higher number that you put in there is actually what's in there. So when you go into your actual account and you see that the number is lower, there's almost a little bit of confusion. And then there's this moment of like, oh yeah, that's right, my reality's still catching up. But what it does in your mind is it puts your current bank account in a perceived old timeline where you're not identifying with it anymore. That's essentially what this timeline script is doing through auditory repetition. When you are writing your script, I want you to, the very first time that you read it through, I want it to be 5 minutes or less, but then I want that to repeat for at least 20 minutes. So you can choose what program you use for this. You could simply record a video on your phone. You could do a voiceover. You could use TikTok. You could use Instagram and publish a private video. You could use iMovie if you have an iPhone. However you want to do this, I'm going to leave this up to you, because one of the things that I learned with teaching students how to do this is there were so many different apps and different ways that people were finding to really express their creativity and loop the message. The entire point of this is that you are just going to find a way to make a 20-minute video where you yourself are speaking this script that you're writing. You're speaking these affirmations, these commands, these declarations in your own voice, and you are going to lay down to this and listen to it, ideally in a meditative state, at least for the first few times, okay? Over time, your subconscious reprogramming is going to be happening on a almost like an automatic level, like it's just happening without you really doing anything except for looping your voice again and again and again, telling your subconscious what to believe. And eventually that's going to become your new normal. And that's when the quantum leap is going to be activated. So this is when you're going to start to see those signs, those synchronicities, those pieces of proof that we talked about your new timeline activating. That's when those are going to start showing up and your external world is going to start reorganizing itself. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to script and define your ideal timeline. These are really important. This process is a very creative process. There's no way for you to fuck this up. There's no way for you to do this wrong, okay? Because you are the creator of your reality. So if you decide that you want something, you can decide how you want to say it. You can decide what that is. There's no way to mess this up. But there are a few pieces that I want you to incorporate no matter what your creative process looks like. And the first one is going to be you're going to speak in the now. So your script needs to be in present tense, as if your new reality is already here. This is what is going to tell your subconscious mind that there's no gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's your truth right now. The subconscious, again, does not differentiate between imagination and reality. It doesn't know the difference. It genuinely does not know the difference. So the more that you are affirming the now version, the faster it's going to lock itself in. So an example of this, when you're scripting, instead of saying, I will make $20,000 months, you're going to say, I am so grateful to be consistently receiving $20,000 months with ease, and the money just flows to me faster than I ever imagined. Every single day, I see proof that I am fully supported and abundance is my natural state. Do you see how that brings that into the now? Okay. The second piece of this is going to be make it emotional. Your body, your subconscious, your frequency is going to be more influenced, like 1,000 times more influenced by your emotions than it is by your logic. So while you are writing the script, I need you to focus on speaking the language of emotions. It's really going to bring in the feeling. You want those full body chills when you listen to your script. You want your heart space to be activated. You want your heart to kind of skip a beat a little bit. You want your adrenaline to start pumping a little bit. You want to feel it in your body. You want to feel excited. It's so interesting that how often this happens when I will make timeline scripts for myself and I will be sitting there and I will be listening to it. Even if I've just heard the same line from myself 20 different times, I'll get to a certain point in my script where it's like my key desire and my entire body will light up. Everything will come online and I will feel so much excitement listening to myself talk about how exciting it is that it's happening right now. So I want you to focus on speaking the language of emotion. The more you infuse your script with safety and excitement and joy and gratitude, the faster your subconscious is going to latch on to that and anchor it in. So you're going to feel it in your body as you speak or listen. Let it become this lived experience in the present moment that you're simply describing to yourself. So again, example. Instead of just saying, I make $20,000 months, you're going to expand it into the feeling. I'm so grateful to feel safe, spacious, and deeply supported as $20,000 flow in every single month. My nervous system feels calm. My heart feels open. My body lights up with excitement, knowing that money always replenishes itself and I am free to enjoy my life. Do you feel how beautiful that feels? The next part of this is going to be embodying your highest self. So I want you to be writing the script from the point of view, speaking from the identity of the version of yourself that already lives in this reality. So this means you're going to kind of have to do some play. You're going to make believe a little bit, and you're going to step into your own shoes in the highest version of yourself. So in his or her mindset, his or her energy, his or her daily choices, however your highest self is acting right now, I don't want you to wait until the money shows up to feel worthy and abundant. You're really going to be locking in this feeling now. Again, internal shift first, external reality reflects it, right? So when you're scripting from your highest self's perspective, his or her perspective, you are telling your subconscious, this is who I am now. So instead of only affirming, I make $20,000 months, you're going to step into your highest self's voice. As a $20,000 a month earner, I trust myself to lead, invest, and receive at this level with ease. I wake up confident, aligned, and clear, knowing my work is changing lives and abundance is always available to me. I move through my day with grace, certainty, and joy because this is simply who I am. Do you feel the power in these words? Can you imagine how powerful it's going to be to speak things like this over yourself and listen to it over and over and over again? This is where the repetition comes in, and it is super, super necessary. Your subconscious learns through repetition. What it hears often, it's going to automatically accept as your truth. So this is why scripting isn't a one-time practice, but this is going to be what we call a daily imprint. So you are recording your script in your own voice, because nothing lands more deeply in the subconscious than hearing yourself declare your new reality. And you're going to play this on a loop. It'd be incredible if you could repeat this to make like an 8-hour tract for yourself and then play it while you fall asleep. But even if you're just listening to it while you drive, during quiet moments in your day, maybe you have some noise canceling headphones on while you take a bath, or while you do the dishes, or while you're even like, there are times where I will do this while I'm like changing diapers and doing my kids' hair and folding laundry. Like, find ways to do this, and instead of having Netflix going on in the background or music going on in the background, have your script playing. You can absolutely find moments throughout your day to repeat this. And I want you to always make sure that you are closing your script or infusing your script with gratitude, because gratitude is what is going to lock the vibration in, and it signals to the universe and your subconscious that this is not, it's not just a possibility, it's already happening, and you're so grateful to be experiencing it in the now. So we're not going to be using words like hope, like, oh, I hope I make $20,000 months, or it'd be nice to make $20,000 months, or even I desire to make $20,000 months. You're going to really pull that in. So thank you, source or God or universe or whoever you want to thank, for my consistent $20,000 months. I'm so grateful that this is my reality now, and I celebrate the abundance flowing to me with ease. Okay. So we're going to just kind of review, 3-step overview. Number 1, craft and create your ideal timeline. You're going to get really, really clear on the reality that you want to shift into, and you're going to write it out as if it's already here. You're going to be using present tense. You're going to be adding emotion, and you're going to be embodying the voice of your highest self. Your script should feel expansive, safe, and exciting, like you're already living in the timeline that you're calling in. You can also, if you want to get really fancy with this, add like some relaxing music in the background to like really help your body like really lean into it, whatever you want to do. Again, this is your creative process. This is whatever works for you. So get as expansive and creative and cool with it as you want, or keep it super simple, whatever works best for you. Number 2, you're going to record it and repeat it. So read your script in your own voice and record it. Aim for, again, at least 5 minutes in length, and then you're going to loop it so that you're listening to that same script repeating at least 4 times for 20 minutes at a time, minimum. Hearing yourself declare this reality imprints it into your subconscious faster than anything else. And then number 3, listening daily. Consistency is key. Play your script every single day while you wake up, falling asleep, during the quiet moments. The more your subconscious hears your new reality and accepts it as the truth, shifting your underlying frequency is going to become really effortless, and your external reality is going to reorganize itself to match. One thing that I want to mention is a question that I would get really consistently from students is, well, what happens if I start feeling like my skin crawling when I'm listening to my own voice really consistently, or my body kind of starts to get uncomfortable or reject what I'm hearing in the script? Then just rewrite it. Rewrite it as many times as you need to really have it land and really feel good. It's also very possible that you'll start with one script and then you'll have to redo it because you're listening to it and something feels a little bit off, or you decide you want to ask for more, you want to change something. Over the last, I would say 18 months, I've probably gone through 40 different versions of scripts for myself. And it's sometimes they're just one-liners. Sometimes instead of a 5-minute script that's looping, sometimes I just do like 2 lines. And it takes me like 30 seconds or a minute, and then I loop it for 20 minutes. So really play with this. But the key is for your body to feel excited, expanded, and ready to receive. So if anything in your body is cramping up, try to ease into it from a different angle. Maybe change the languaging a little bit. Maybe you are dreaming too big at first and your nervous system is locking up. So instead of $20,000 months, if you've only ever been able to get to $5,000 months, maybe you start with $8,000 months or $10,000 months, and then you can incrementally work your way up. So do what feels best for you. Listen to it as many times as feels best for you. There may be a little bit of a learning curve with this, so don't immediately just like reject your script, if the very first time that you listen to it, you feel kind of weird, especially if you haven't listened to your own voice consistently, there is a little bit of a learning curve with this. But if you genuinely start to have full body reactions and it's like, okay, this isn't working, or I need to change my script, feel free to do that. This is a creative process of you co-creating with yourself and with the universe, okay? All right, so let us talk about how we are going to actually now collapse those old timelines, because now you've crafted and created your new timeline. We now have to be intentional with collapsing the old timeline. Again, not only stepping into the hallway, but shutting the door behind us, okay? So the important thing to remember here is that old timelines survive because we keep feeding them with our energy, our attention, our reactions, and our emotions. So every time you spiral in frustration, or you give energy to an unaligned relationship, or you keep replaying the same story in your mind, or you keep talking about the same shit over and over again, you keep telling the same stories, you keep watching the same negative shit, you're just replaying the old story in your mind, and you're pouring fuel into the very timeline that you want to leave behind. So the way that I pose this to my students is try your best to ignore the things that you don't prefer. Okay. We also are going to position this as starving the old timelines. So to jump timelines, you're going to have to starve the old ones of energy. Where attention goes, energy flows. Okay. So this means choosing consciously not to react in the same ways that you always have. If someone's trying to pick a fight with you and you're usually like, oh my God, I have to defend my honor. I have to put them in their place. I can't let this go unchecked. Sometimes it means just literally just staring at them and walking away and being like, yeah, no, I'm not engaging with this. I'm not putting my energy into this. Refusing, absolutely just putting your foot down and refusing to pour attention into what drains you or what is just going to continue in that loop of things not working for you. Detaching your energy from jobs, relationships, or habits that no longer serve you. Even if you're not quitting or leaving right away, learning how to pull your energy back. It's a practice, it's a skill set. This isn't something that is going to come naturally to a lot of us, especially if you've been in these older timelines and lower vibrational timelines for a while. So don't be hard on yourself if you relapse, or you did a really good job last week of detaching your energy and then someone pissed you off to no end this week and you like fed into it a little bit. Just reclaim your energy, reclaim your time, pull that energy back, leave the room, redirect your time and your attention, put on your timeline jumping script, watch a movie to calm yourself down, go on a walk, do what you need to do to recenter yourself and consistently be practicing being in the vibration of your new timeline. This is also why having those recordings is going to be really helpful, because it's, even if you listen to it all day, every day, just in the background, it's going to be giving you that spark back, that hope, right? You're going to be redirecting your emotion back into the timeline that you do want to feed. When you stop nourishing the old frequency, it is going to collapse. It might take a day, it might take 3 weeks, it might take 6 months, but it will collapse, okay? Because you are the only one that's keeping that reality available. You are the only one that activated that for yourself. Therefore, you are the one that can collapse that and make it shrivel up and die. The energy that once tangled up in that survival, the scarcity, and the drama, it becomes freed. When you pull back all of that energy, it's instantly available to fuel the higher reality that you're stepping into, okay? Now, there is something that can happen. I call this the purging process. This doesn't happen every single time in every aspect of your life, but very consistently it happens in at least one area of your life when you decide that you're going to declare and decree a new reality. The old one very consistently begins to unravel and crumble, and this is sometimes where you start having unexpected bills or expenses pop up, or money glitches show up, or relationships start to end, or people are falling away, or your inner voice that's been your inner critic starts to get really fucking loud. So any self-doubt, fear, scarcity coming up to the surface, like almost like, I want you to imagine this like your inner child throwing the biggest tantrum ever, or like your ego throwing the biggest tantrum ever, or like, if you want to get really deep with it, you could imagine like a demon just like screaming its fucking head off because it knows it's about to get ripped out and it's not going to have control over you anymore. Okay. So a lot of these things will come up to the surface. This is also called your shadow self. So Very consistently, I'll get students that message me and ask me like, it's weird, I started doing this work and then all of a sudden like all of this stuff in my shadow self started coming up to the surface to be purged. Is this normal? Yes, it absolutely is. You can also start to see like temporary chaos that makes it feel like everything is going wrong. But when things start to fall apart, it's not because you're off track, it's because you're shifting those timelines. This isn't punishment. This is a purification process. This is like alchemizing through the fire, right? The universe is clearing out what no longer fits in your new reality. The density has to move so that your new frequency can lock in. It almost like knocks over the energetic blocks that you've built your current timeline on that were no longer aligned to make space for the new ones. It's almost like if you're building a tower and then a toddler comes over and just like knocks it the fuck over and you have to rebuild it from scratch. That's what happens. It doesn't mean that this is going to affect every single area of your life. Like maybe your marriage is super solid, for example, and that is super aligned and it was built on a lot of beauty and mutual respect, etc. That probably won't be affected. If anything, it'll just get better. However, if you're in a toxic situation or a toxic environment, I would expect for those to remove themselves, almost like the trash taking itself out, okay? However, I want you to be clear on what this does not mean. When I'm talking about jumping timelines, it's important for you to understand that this doesn't mean that you're suddenly going to wake up in a reality where you don't recognize it, or you're not going to like wake up in a new house that you're like, where the fuck am I? It's not going to be like you jump to a timeline where your loved ones or your family or your kids don't exist. Like this was a fear that came up for a lot of people. I want you to understand that this isn't, and this also isn't going to be like something tragic is going to happen. Like a death has to happen for you to shift. And if someone does die, I want you to understand that that is simply coincidental. That is simply their soul contract expiring. Their soul contract said that that's how they were going to exit the earth at that point in time. That has nothing to do with the work that you're doing. Timeline jumping is not about these catastrophic events or things happening that make you feel really ungrounded. It's the opposite. It's all about expansion. It's all about you accessing new and exciting experiences, opportunities, and realities that are already existing at those higher frequencies. Keyword higher frequency. So you're simply shifting onto a timeline where things get to work out for you really easily. The really cool thing about this, and the thing that not only I have noticed, but my students have noticed as well, is it's not just your life that's going to get better when you do this work. Everyone around you that's in your inner circle, 222 on my clock as I'm filming this, I have my alarm going off, so 222 could be an angel number for you that shows up pretty consistently as a reminder of this, as a reminder that you're on a higher path, as a reminder that this frequency is happening for you and not to you. Very consistently, I've seen that everyone's lives around me start to change. Like when I first started timeline jumping, immediately after, my brother met his now wife and they were married within a year. And he had been single for like 28 years, was not able to be in a solid relationship for like 28 years. Then I shift to a timeline where all of a sudden he meets the love of his life and he's getting married. Same thing with all of the timeline jumps that I shared with you previously. Those things took years and years and years to fall into my life. And then all of a sudden they're happening within like a month, like things that people aren't ever able to do in their entire lives happening in a month for me. It works. Or like my husband getting his perfect ideal job. When I tell you, this was such a big deal because up until that point, my husband had not been able to hold a job for more than like 6 months to a year without feeling severely depressed, like very anxious, very like claustrophobic. Something would either happen at the job that would like completely destroy the energy or like his motivation, or his mental health would take a dive, or he'd get laid off. Like it was these time loops of me consistently bracing, waiting for something bad to happen. These time loops of like him never being able to stay at a job for more than a year without something bad happening. Now he is obsessed with this job. It's been almost 18 months, the longest job he's like ever had at one place, making the most money he's ever made, incredible benefits. It's a union, so like no weird layoffs that are going to be happening. He works for the government now, so there's no BS. Like it's been such an incredible transition, not only for me living my dream reality, but watching other people's lives around me just work really, really fucking well. So again, we're just going to think about this like tuning that radio or TV channel to the station that you prefer. The other stations aren't going to necessarily disappear when you change the dial. You're simply aligning yourself with the channel that feels better and lighter and more supportive. So you're not going to enact this process and accidentally end up on an even worse timeline. And that's also why it's important for us to understand how the purging process works. Any chaos that comes up is simply temporary. It's simply that energy coming up to the surface to be released. It's not proof that you landed on an even worse timeline, because what can happen is if you're not aware of this purging process and how it works and what happens, it can freak you out and it can make you completely just like stop trying to go to a new timeline and just be like, you know what, I shouldn't have done this. I'll just go back to like the way things were before. Like, it's almost like a test of the will. It's almost like things get really loud because they have to die off. And it's a test of, are you serious about this? Do you actually want this new reality? When I tell you the purging process for me looked like I had declared and decreed to the universe that I wanted $10,000 a month. I was at a corporate job at the time where I was only making $5,000 a month, but it was completely like monopolizing all of my time and energy. So the universe knew there's no way that we can get you to $10,000 months while you're stuck in this current reality where you're only at $5,000 months. So I got laid off. I literally manifested this like layoff, and it felt like terrible timing. It felt like, why did I ever ask for more? Why I should have just been grateful. And then I started applying for all of these jobs again that would have ended me up in the same situation because my body freaked out. I didn't know exactly what was happening at first because I hadn't decided to fully go in on all in on manifestation yet. And so it just felt like chaos. And I was like, what did I do? Like, I felt really angry. I felt really depressed. I felt really anxious. And so all of my actions were then stemming from this place of, I have to get it back. I have to get this job back. But the universe knew that my desire was sincere. And so they blocked every opportunity for me to get a new job. Like, I was applying for hundreds of jobs, interviewing like crazy. No one was hiring me. It became very clear that I needed to stop running from my spiritual gifts, stop running from my years of entrepreneurship, and just do my own thing. When I did that, it enacted even more of a purging process where any freelance clients that I had completely fell away. I watched my 5-figure savings be completely drained to zero. My husband then got laid off from his other job before he landed into the current one that he has. That's amazing. All of my credit cards got maxed out. I filed for my tax refund. It was then delayed for 90 days, and that was supposed to be a 5-figure refund that we really needed. We started having to sell off our belongings. Like, everything was going to shit. I started having like massive arguments with my husband and with family members, like all of this shit coming up to the surface that had been kind of swept under the rug for years. Everything came up at once. I was getting phone calls from people that I had issues with. All of this energy was coming up to be released. And yet, the more that I dove into manifestation and I started discovering the timeline jumping process, this was the beginning of me crafting and creating this for you, I started recognizing what was happening. I was able to connect the dots, and I was like, oh shit, okay. If this is happening because I'm activating a new timeline for myself, firstly, I'm just going to start gaslighting myself and like programming myself that $20,000 months are happening. Even if I can't see it right now, they're absolutely happening, and the universe will find a way to bring those to me. But secondly, I'm just going to stay energetically neutral. I'm going to stay emotionally neutral, and I'm just going to watch everything explode around me. I'm just going to watch. I'm just going to observe. I'm going to be the observer. I'm not going to react to this. I'm not going to feed into it. I'm simply going to watch this old timeline collapse and then see what happens. What the fuck else could possibly go wrong? Like, you know what I mean? It was like, what else could go wrong at this point? Like, anything that's happening at this point, I'm convinced is because it's old timelines that need to collapse. And I was right. I was 100% right, because not only do I have consistent 5-figure months, I'm telling you, when I tell you everything works out for me all the time, everything works out for me all the time. I'm consistently getting discounts that I want. I'm consistently getting free things that I want. I'm consistently having divine appointments with people. I'm consistently at the right place at the right time. I'm consistently in perfect divine timing for literally everything. I consistently hear my intuition louder than ever. I consistently get these really beautiful like sales days and aligned clients. I very consistently have brand new ideas on how to create new things that will like speak to my audience. I very consistently am in these situations where like nature is just unfolding and blossoming around me, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is absolutely insane. I mean, I'm talking like insane thunderstorms, rainbows appearing over me, animals responding to me. Like, my life is truly fucking magical. The synchronicities are off the charts, the angel numbers are off the charts. Like, the opportunities that I get and the celebrities and the people that I attract to me consistently, the people that I once had up on a pedestal that like follow me and my content now, happens to me all the time. And it's because I allowed that old timeline to collapse and I didn't react to it. I literally was simply observing everything fucking blow up around me. And I was like, this is going to sort itself out. And it absolutely did. And it is my absolute dream life. And it just keeps getting better and better and better and better and better. It will be the same thing for you. Okay. I just am going to need you to get through the purging process, whatever this looks like for you, and try your best not to react to this. I also want you to try to focus your attention on what you want, and I want you to ignore the glitches. So when you're jumping timelines, reality does glitch a little bit. It really does. You may notice that these distortions start popping up. It sometimes feels like deja vu or something looped where you're like, what the fuck? I just saw that car drive past 5 seconds ago, or things being slightly out of place, like literally physical items disappearing where you're like, where the fuck did it go? And then it appears in a completely different place. You're like, I definitely did not put that there. Even like Mandela effect style shifts. If you don't know what the Mandela effect is, like, you can research it and kind of look at some examples of people, like large groups of people, thousands and thousands of people remembering reality one way, and then things change and they can't find any proof that it was ever the other way. These things are real and they do happen. It happens to me a lot, all the time. These are simply signs that your reality is reorganizing. Again, the reality that we live in, we don't even fully understand the universe that we live in. We understand probably 1 or 2% of how our universe, how our galaxy, how our reality actually works, even with all of the incredible, scientists and researchers and explorers and healers and metaphysical practitioners and people that we have that understand, like, even just the physics of this reality that we live in. We still really probably only understand 1 to 2%. There is so much about our reality that we don't understand. I don't want you to spend your time getting caught up in trying to figure out exactly how this thing rearranged itself and this glitch. Oh, this building wasn't there before and now it is. Oh, this person over here's car used to be this color and now it's not. Like, yes, there will be glitches, and it may even feel like you're going crazy a little bit. Like, what is happening? Am I like schizophrenic? Like, what is happening? If you get sucked into these distortions, or you get stuck in obsessing over the glitches and it freaks you out, it can trigger what we call psychosis, where you genuinely do feel like you're going crazy. And this is one of the things that I myself fell into in the beginning of timeline jumping, where I would become obsessive over like collecting glitches as the proof, as the signs, but it almost became too much for my brain to handle, as opposed to just refocusing my attention on what I actually wanted. So the key is going to be just taking them as like little signs that things are shifting and reorganizing for you. But I don't want you to get stuck on obsessing over analyzing or trying to like prove them out, or trying to get other people to believe you that like this thing is now different. What you're going to be doing, if that becomes your focus, is you're simply going to be feeding that in between instead of anchoring into your new reality. So it can actually be like getting stuck out in the hallway as opposed to stepping through the new door. Okay. So the real power here is going to be redirecting your focus back into your desired results, the abundance, the alignment, and the experiences that you've chosen, using these glitches as just kind of like gentle winks from the universe that the shift is happening, and then putting your energy right back into embodying the timeline that you want. Okay. You're also going to be focusing all of your time, attention, and energy on your new timeline. So just like the old timeline is going to collapse when you stop feeding it, the new timeline is going to grow stronger and stronger when you nourish it. So this means gathering proof that your new reality is already taking shape, and then following the divine nudges that guide you forward. This is really important. gathering proof. You're going to celebrate every synchronicity, every small win, every sign of positive alignment, even the tiniest shift, an unexpected compliment, a check in the mail, a new opportunity, a refund is evidence that your new timeline is anchoring in, okay? These things may overlap. You may start to see the new, like the small wins coming in while your old life is also simultaneously falling apart. Sometimes there can be an overlap of these two timelines. That's okay. Just continue to focus on the new timeline. Then you're going to focus on following the divine nudges because your intuition is going to get louder, and source, God, the divine, your spirit team, your highest self is going to be giving you inspired ideas and gut instincts that are going to help drive you deeper into that new timeline and guide you deeper into that new timeline. So I need you to pay hyper attention to the inspired ideas and the gut instincts that arise, because these are from your higher self and from God and from source, showing you those next steps that you need to take to consistently align with that new chosen reality and to help it come in as quickly as possible. Last but not least, for this, you're going to be staying consistent. So keep affirming, keep scripting, keep aligning with your that new timeline. Keep focusing your energy on what you do want versus what you don't want. Ignore the things that you don't prefer as much as possible. The more you feed it with your focus and belief, the faster that new timeline is going to stabilize as your new normal. The cool thing about this is once you master the vibration of your new timeline, it makes it permanent, okay? So once you've mastered the vibration of that new timeline, the results become your new baseline, your new foundation. So, example, once your system has adjusted to the frequency of $20,000 months, it will always find its way to you, no matter what offer you launch, no matter what changes life brings, no matter how your business evolves. Once you anchor into the frequency, the energy, it's always going to find you, always. It's no longer about a single strategy or circumstance. It's about who you are vibrationally. So the frequency becomes locked into your field, and the abundance naturally reorganizes itself around you to match, okay? So this is really cool, and this is why I'm saying this is a life skill that you will get to enact again and again and again, and you'll simply be getting yourself to new baselines, and then you can stay at that baseline for as long as possible. I did have one friend and coach say to me that she decided to take a break from quantum leaping because her body and her nervous system was having a hard time like recalibrating to all the changes, which we're going to talk about in just a second. And so, she would just take a break and she would stay on her new timeline and she would experience, all the magic that new timeline had to offer. You don't necessarily have to be obsessive with like getting more and more and more and more and more. It's okay for you to manifest your new timeline and then stay there for a while. If you love $20,000 months, for example, and you're not ready to move into 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 200, 300, $500,000 months, just chill with your 20K and become a master of that timeline and really anchor that in for as long as feels comfortable. Just know that this process will always be available to you. These truths will always be available to you. These tools, the skill set that you learned will always be available to you for when you are ready to activate the new timeline for yourself. Your ability to activate and land on your new timeline as quickly as possible is not just going to depend on your intentions, though. I want to talk about how to really quickly quantum leap as quickly as possible, okay? This is going to depend on your willingness to follow through on the divine nudges you're given as quickly as possible. So any type of procrastination is going to be self-sabotage. Any type of source, God, universe dropped in an inspired idea, but I just don't want to do it because I'm scared. All of that is going to sabotage your new timeline and how quickly this can come in. So when source does drop you an inspired idea, a next step, or an opportunity, it is your job to act on it as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible. For example, maybe all of a sudden you feel a strong nudge to raise your prices, launch a new offer, or sign up for a program that will stretch you. In that moment, you have a choice. You can either ignore the nudge and stay in the comfort of your own timeline or your current timeline, or you can follow through and step into the higher reality that you've been calling in. But just like there's that whole, like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and again and expecting a different result. It's the same thing with timelines, right? If you're operating the same energy, same frequency, making the same decisions, not following through, procrastinating, not investing in yourself, etc., you can't be surprised when things stay exactly the same because you're not doing anything to shift your vibration. It's not just about the intention. Okay, it's not just about the timeline script. The timeline script is going to shift things for you. It is absolutely going to reprogram your subconscious, but this is also to make it more easy and easeful for you to take the aligned actions that you need to. Aligned action is going to be huge. And like I said, it's going to be dependent on your ability to act as quickly as possible on those aligned next step and inspired ideas. Every time you ignore or you delay, you're going to slow that quantum leap. You're going to slow the transition into your new timeline. However, every time you say yes to the nudge and you take that aligned action, you're collapsing time. What could have taken you months or even years to shift can happen in days or even hours. This is because Source, God, Universe, I am energy, your highest self, knows what you need to do to collapse the timeline. Instead of 10 years, they know exactly what steps you need to take to have it happen tomorrow. But you are going to have to follow through on what they tell you to do, okay? What this divine, it could literally be like, okay, so one way that this shows up as a really practical example is every time I need to offer something new, I'll, let's say, have 3 separate clients who don't know each other all DM me on the same day asking for something very similar or having the exact same problem. Like, I'd really love a healing session on soothing my inner child, for example. And then I'll get like 2 more messages from 2 additional clients that don't know each other, and none of them know that each other is messaging me, and they're all asking for the same thing. That's a very clear sign that my intuition, that my guidance system is like, hey, you need to make a new healing session and it needs to be around soothing your inner child. Or let's say you get a new idea in your mind and you're like, oh, I just had this idea for this new program or this new offering or this new piece of art or a new price point, but I'm kind of nervous. Source, God, can you please send me some confirmation or some signs that this is exactly what needs to happen right now? And all of a sudden your entire body feels flooded with light and you're getting full body chills. That would be a sign, right? Or let's say then immediately afterwards you open your Instagram app and the very first video that pops up is talking about that exact thing that you just felt like you needed to do. It will happen in different ways, but they will always find ways to give you that guidance. It is your job to learn how to pay attention to that and then follow through with it as quickly as possible. The second key piece for this is going to be your nervous system, because a higher timeline often comes with a surge of new energy, greater visibility. So like more visibility on social media, more visibility in your current job, more visibility in your business, and an increase in money, opportunities, and responsibility. If your nervous system isn't able to hold that expansion, you will self-sabotage. You will shut down. You're going to bounce back to your old timeline because your body's going to freak the fuck out and be like, I don't want this. Never mind. This is too big. This is why nervous system regulation is so important. You are preparing your body to feel safe in success, safe in overflow, and safe in the energy of your new reality. Your timeline script is going to help with this, especially using those grounding words, like really programming into your subconscious that you feel safe with this. However, there is going to maybe potentially be some physical things that you need to do too, like go on a run, like take a bath, like scream into a pillow, like give yourself a hug, like doing some energy healing. Because the quicker that you align your nervous system while also following these divine nudges, the faster your quantum leap can become your new normal, okay? However, I would say one of the biggest blocks beyond just lack of action and lack of nervous system regulation that people really struggle to land on their highest and wealthiest timeline is because of what I call energetic money blocks. So these are subconscious fears, old contracts, ancestral wounds, childhood wounds, and trapped emotions that are keeping your system anchored in scarcity and survival. If your body does not feel safe to hold $20,000 and you've never held that amount of money in your life, and then you're expecting yourself to be able to manifest that in a month, it's not going to happen. There's a disconnect between what your body is currently able to hold and what you're asking for. And a lot of the time, it's because of these subconscious programs. But again, like I said in the beginning, when we talked about the body keeps the score, these actually create real energetic blocks in your body, like physical blocks. This is also why sometimes when I'm doing energy healing for clients, even if it's we're focused on money, let's just say, all of a sudden their throat starts to close up and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling like something's clearing out of my throat. Or all of a sudden they get like this random back pain that shoots up. And then as we do the session, like that clears out. Those are physical symptoms and signs that the blocks, the energetic blocks, were being held in your body in certain parts of your body. And as we clear it, it's coming up to the surface to be released. Through that energy healing, what we're doing is we're clearing these blocks so that the gap between your now, whatever you're experiencing now, and what you are wanting to experience with your highest self and that new timeline begins to close. We're closing the gap. We're collapsing the timeline. As the old density and timeline dissolves, as that energetic block dissolves, as it leaves your body, you are naturally going to feel safer receiving more, holding more, allowing more abundance to flow. This is going to massively reduce self-sabotage because those unconscious patterns that make you shrink back when opportunities appear or spend as fast as you earn are going to disappear and start to dissipate. As your energy field clears and stabilizes, money is going to be able to not only move with more ease and flow, but you are going to feel safer holding it. My friend, this is the part where I invite you into deeper support with me. You are invited into my Reiki for Riches collective. This is my award-winning signature energy healing program that I launched in May of 2025, and it has already served over 1,300 clients. This offering is perfectly created to really help you step into your new timeline, to step into that next shift of abundance by clearing energetic blocks that have potentially been stopping you, slowing you down, holding you back without you even realizing it, while also helping you to really relax and regulate your nervous system so that you can not only dream bigger, but hold more money with ease. So the 6 levels that I clear you on, we look first at ancestral and lineage trauma. So anything that has not only been carried on energetically, anything that your ancestors went through, or and this doesn't have to be super far away ancestors. This can be as close as like your grandmother or your parents. We go through and we clear out anything energetically that is still kind of slowing you down, creating some resistance in the energetic field. But also, scientifically speaking, you have 7 generations of DNA in your body. So that means that you are carrying energetically and physically 7 generations of your ancestors' cellular DNA. And we know that the body keeps score. We know that certain things get locked into cellular memory. So we're going through and alchemizing anything that got stuck there. Then we go in and we do a past life money contract clearing. So anything that's still active from a past life that is no longer serving you. This could be either like a past life vow of poverty, or potentially maybe you were super wealthy in a past life, but you accidentally or unconsciously hurt people with that. And so now you feel some residual shame around wanting to step into wealth again in this lifetime. Then we go in and we do a clearing around your childhood subconscious block. So this is anything that you picked up during childhood, especially in the first 7 years, but this carries on through our teenage years, etc. This is not only things that we picked up subconsciously or consciously from caregivers and parents, but also just society in general, media, etc., especially public schooling, etc. Then we do a money mindset and scarcity clearing, because very typically what I have found is even if you consciously want to manifest more money, even if you consciously are ready to step into 5+ figure months, even if you're consciously ready to step into that overflow for yourself or for others, very consistently there is certain ceilings that you will hit around how much you actually believe you deserve to hold. There is sometimes even some worthiness wounds around if you believe you deserve it or not, if you believe that you are a match for it, even if you consciously know that you would be an excellent steward of the wealth. Sometimes there are some really sneaky subconscious beliefs that are still floating around in the background that we do need to clear out. And this also leads really effortlessly and really perfectly into clearing out any shame around past or current debt as well. This can contribute to having you feel like, well, if I didn't make great decisions in the past, or I'm currently maybe not making the best decisions with money, I don't deserve to step into abundance. Or there's a fear of, if I do step into more abundance, it's just going to create more pain because I don't trust myself. So we clear that out as well, and we learn how to alchemize the energy around debt. And then, last but not least, we really focus on regulation in the nervous system, not only around spending and expanding, but also holding on to the money as well, and learning how to increase how much you're able to receive with ease without freaking out, how much you're able to save, how much you're able to then also allow to flow back out from you, because we don't want to just white knuckle the money and really grasp onto it and not want it to leave once it comes into our life. We want to create a really healthy relationship around circulation of money so that it can breathe and so it can grow and so it can do what it needs to do. So this is a preview of the inside of the classroom inside of Reiki for Riches. You can see that I start, this is an introduction and content index. This has everything that you will need to know about how the container works, how to do the energy clearing as safely as possible. It has a lot of different resources, frequently asked questions, etc. And then we go into a protection invocation session just so that you feel fully protected, you feel fully grounded. It just kind of sets the energetic precedent of what to expect. And then day one, you can go straight into the ancestral clearing healing session. You also have day 2 and day 3 and day 4. These unlock every 24 hours unless you choose the annual pass. If you choose annual, all of it will be unlocked instantly. But you can see we start with the ancestral money clearing, then we go to past life, childhood, money mindset, and scarcity healing. And each one of these sessions is about an hour. Then the debt relief healing session. Day 6, we end with the financial flow frequency healing session. This is the Oracle reading vault. Every single month, I do about an hour of new content that is tailored to that specific month. So it's very fresh and it's very time sensitive on just different cosmic updates, astrology updates, things that may affect manifestations or that we could potentially work with. So if, let's say we have a Mercury retrograde coming up, I'll highlight that. Or let's say we have an eclipse coming up, I'll highlight that. Or let's say we have something like a really beautiful like Lionsgate portal where it's a perfect time for manifestation, I'll highlight that. But this is also a time for us to get channeled guidance from source on what to expect the next month, what is the most alive, what we should be focusing our energy on to really maximize the energy of the month. And so you'll be able to watch not only the current months, but all of the months that I've done since May in this. This is also really great for potentially you getting called to a past month and you're like, I have no idea why I feel called to watch April's reading, and then there's a message in there for you perfectly timed from source, God, the universe, that just helps guide you on your journey. So you'll be able to access that. And then I have some milestone gifts. So as you stay, because this is a monthly membership, you will be able to unlock additional healing sessions, money spells, etc. This is just a preview. There is additional master classes and healing sessions as well that you can unlock in there, but this is the content that is included with the Reiki for Riches. What this offering, I believe, helps you accomplish and what I have seen reflected back to me from current students. Firstly, just clearing out your old money beliefs, increasing your self-concept and your confidence, not only around money, but just simply around who you are. I really feel that manifesting abundance has been one of my favorite self-development tools. There's so much mastery, self-mastery that is required to step into these higher levels of wealth and income that just rounds you out as a person and really infuses you with confidence in yourself. This is also going to help you increase how much money you're able to manifest and manage at one time, heal your relationship with money as an energy and as a tool, stepping more fully into aligned wealth, easily activate 5-figure months. Many, many clients have come into this space and used this program to do this. Lock in your desire to help yourself, your family, your community, and humanity ascend and heal through prosperity. This is like, when you invest in a container like this, it is like the ultimate signal to the universe that you are so ready to not only invest in yourself and your future and your prosperity, but it like sends this signal that you're ready for more magic to happen in your life, that you're ready to open up to new possibilities. This work is also going to help you to activate and retain a new timeline of abundance, because we don't want to manifest something that comes into your life and then leaves just as quickly. We really want to help you ground into this new timeline. Regulating your nervous system around the new money coming in, because even if you think right now that it is the most positive thing and you wouldn't possibly feel anything negative about it, very consistently, when you start getting those larger deposits, your nervous system freaks out. So having a space where you can ground into that abundance and really have support around adjusting to that being your new normal instead of a once in a lifetime opportunity is really vital and key. And then you're just going to feel more supported on your journey. I answer every single post in the community from all of the students. So you'll be able to pop in there with questions or comments or wins or just sharing insights from your personal life, from how the sessions touched you, how money is flowing into your life. If you have questions or confusions around the journey and the process, or you're feeling grief, or you're just wanting some more support, I will be there for you. And there is very consistently, anywhere from 700 to 800 students in the community at any given time. People do come and go, but very consistently we have a really solid 700 to 800 people in the community that can also chime in and give you support. And you'll also be able to meet people that are on this ascension and abundance and manifestation journey as well, which I think is really beautiful and important when you are really intentionally starting to manifest and potentially you don't have many people in your inner circle currently that are doing this work. Clients that are loving these sessions and the community, if you see yourself on this list, you are not going to be alone. Therapists, both hypno and psychology, coaches of all industries, real estate agents, health and wellness lovers, business owners of all niches, artists, singers and musicians, energy healers, because even healers need a healer, authors and writers, nurses and doctors, holistic and traditional mainstream, content creators, and then just simply students of life or seekers of not only knowledge, but healing, ascension, just a deeper experience that goes beyond what our current society typically offers you. So if you see yourself on that list or you resonate with any of these titles or containers, I would love to have you. Clients are having absolutely incredible results. These are the highlights. These are the like top manifestation results. You can see almost $500,000 in results that have been manifested by my clients. But this also comes in smaller gifts as well, just like unexpected sales in business, being gifted money without expecting it, without asking for it, money finally flowing after being delayed and feeling stagnant, discounts, and gifts. And I've even had students manifest new apartments and dream job offers and a lot of refund checks, not only from taxes, but also I noticed a lot of refunds from mortgage companies, a lot of refund checks. And I love that because I feel like one of the ways that the universe helps you manifest more money is simply by funneling back some of the money to you that you've already paid out that wasn't necessarily needed, and or we have a lot of clients seeing their day-to-day or monthly bills decreased for for one reason or another. But very consistently, I see this as Source, God, the universe going in and energetically patching up some holes so that you can not only manifest more, but so that the money stays longer, and anything that was taken from you or funneled away from you without that being in alignment, that money can return to you. So really cool. I've pulled some screenshots, but you can read more screenshots on my website. I think I have like 40 different testimonials that are like my favorite testimonials so far from clients that you can read through. But you can see these are actual screenshots. These are not me just pretending like someone said a certain thing or pretending that clients were getting results. These are literally pulled directly from the Reiki for Riches. You can see dates on there. So lots and lots and lots of wins. And I love how these different wins aren't showing up just in one way. Like the universe is such a master at funneling you money in literally hundreds and thousands of different ways. And so the client results are consistent with abundance coming in, but that abundance takes so many different forms depending on the individual, depending on what your journey looks like, depending on how Source, God, Universe would like to funnel you the money. So I love that for my clients. I do also love highlighting that Reiki for Riches is a 2-time award-winning community. So what this means is I host Reiki for Riches on the school platform because I love how easily it is to toggle back and forth between the classroom and the community. That way you can have your content in one space and you can hop over into the community and get support from me if you need to. And because I love this platform so much, I've spent a lot of time building Reiki for Riches on this platform and this platform only. And as it's grown in speed and in size in the spirituality category, if you are a top 5, if you're in the top 5 of fastest growing communities in your genre, which my genre is spirituality, you win an award, you get flown out to LA, all expenses paid, and you get invited to like a 1-day mastermind to visit the school headquarters and also to have a really beautiful banquet lunch with the other winners and really get to just network and talk with other high-level entrepreneurs such as yourself. And so I've won 2 quarters in a row. I've actually technically won every single quarter that Reiki for Riches has been in existence, which is really cool. And with the second time that I won, I actually wrote down the exact monthly recurring revenue that I wanted to win with. And that's exactly what ended up coming to pass. So that was really cool, not only winning a second time, but kind of playing a game with the universe and being able to ask for exactly what I wanted and then have it almost be part of my manifestation practice. But super, super fun. And this is out of a total of almost 200,000 communities. So there's only about 45 winners total for all of the niches, for all of the different categories. So being in the top 50 people, out of over 200,000 communities is an honor, and to be able to win twice in a row. This community that we've created really is the real deal because it gets clients results, and because I genuinely believe the energy is so pure and so potent. The universe really honors that and makes sure that we have consistent growth. Like the universe is constantly calling students in that would highly benefit from this. So if you are feeling the call, if you're feeling the pull, it's very likely that you are one of the students that God looks at and says this would be a perfect fit for you. When you join, you are going to get those 6 1-hour Reiki abundance energy healing sessions designed to clear your money blocks on every level. That's going to be the core curriculum and transformation that's being offered. There's also over 100 different journaling prompts that are included, divided up between those 6 sessions to help you really shift your frequency and dig deeper on any subconscious beliefs. Again, you're going to get those monthly channeled oracle readings, the guidance for fresh content monthly, integrated community to meet new friends, ask questions, share wins, etc. Those milestone gifts at your 2, 3, 4, and 5 month mark. Those will also instantly be unlocked if you choose the annual pass instead of paying monthly. And then you'll also be able to unlock additional healing sessions and masterclasses. And you'll also have access to a private link to book custom healing sessions with me. Those are currently $555 per session. This is over $4,000 in value for this beautiful offering. However, I've designed it to be as affordable as possible while still making sure that I'm energetically compensated for the massive amount of energy and love and intention I consistently pour into this container. This is not a container where I've, recorded things once and then never log back in again. I'm so very consistently updating things, adding new content, doing giveaways for the community. Any new YouTube videos I drop are in there, any new healing sessions that I feel led to create, any new masterclasses or add-on sessions, and you very consistently will get discounts for being with me in this space. So definitely an incredibly valuable offer. Right now, it's only $55 a month or $497 for annual. It is normally $77 per month. And I do like to highlight that this is actually what I have charged. Like, I actually do typically charge $77 a month. Sometimes I feel like with marketing, people will be like, oh, it's normally X amount, but they've literally never had students come in at that price point. They're just using it for marketing. That's not what this is. I genuinely typically charge $77 a month. Right now, it is only $55. So if you are interested in this, I'm going to urge you really to lock yourself in ASAP, because you will be grandfathered in at that $55 a month. So it will not, when I do eventually increase it back up to the 77 for new students, you are going to be grandfathered and you'll be insulated from any pricing increases. So you will consistently have that $55 a month tier. Again, if you choose the annual, you're going to get instant access to all the content and milestone gifts. So if this is something that calls to you and you are interested, there is the link to join us below in that description box. But yeah, I can't wait to see who this speaks to. I absolutely love seeing new students come in. I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me and for being here. Please also drop me a comment on how you felt about this masterclass, how you felt about the content, any aha moments, anything that really spoke to you. I love reading your comments come through on what was in alignment, what was perfect timing for you to hear. So thank you so much for being here. I hope to see your name come through so soon for Reiki for Riches. And also, as a side note, because this masterclass is also an upgrade inside of Reiki for Riches, you can send me a DM once you join Reiki for Riches, and I will give you complimentary access to this masterclass inside of the classroom there, so that all of your stuff is in one space. So there's another added little extra bonus for you if you've made it this far and if you feel called. Link below to join Reiki for Riches. Sending you so much love, and I will see you again next time that the universe connects us. Bye-bye for now.